What's going on, guys? Do you ever feel like you spend your whole time caring about what other people think? Do you feel like you spend your whole time always worrying about what other people are going to say or what other people are going to do? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the reasons why you shouldn't care about what other people think and why it's really important to know what you yourself care about and what you yourself want to do. So earlier today, I was trawling through the Daily Mail website and I found these comments. And I've selected these comments because I think they're so interesting. Firstly, because it's in a very short period of time. This was in about a 90-minute window that I was able to find all of this. But also because of the people that they're being made about. So first of all, we've got these comments made about Ariana Grande. Secondly, we've got these comments made about Elle Macpherson. And lastly, we've got these very aggressive comments that have been made about Jennifer Lopez. This to me is fascinating. You've got people that are very successful in what they do, you've got people that have got massive followings, and you've got people that are pretty unanimously considered to be attractive. Yet there's still people undermining them. There's still people trash talking and throwing shade. And it becomes fascinating to me because it's really worth trying to identify why this is the case. But before we even do that, it's really important to understand why you should see these comments and actually take a lot of heart for them and actually realise that if these celebrities are getting criticised, it doesn't matter at all what people are going to say about you either. So the first reason why you shouldn't care what other people think is to understand that negative comments will most of the time come from a place of very low self-esteem. Think about this. The vast majority of people that we meet in life we're completely indifferent to. It's very rare that we meet people that we love, and it's very rare that we meet people that we truly hate. Most people we quite like, we like a little bit. Most people we dislike a little bit, find a little bit irritating. And then the other people we're just completely indifferent to. We don't even really form that much of an opinion about them, and we don't even really remember them. I've chosen these comments about these celebrities because these are comments being made by people about someone they will never ever meet. You know, we've got people describing Jennifer Lopez as manly and chubby. We've got people describing Elle Macpherson as old. And we've got this attack made on Ariana Grande, like Ariana herself decided that she wanted to be bigger than religion. The reality is that this is not the case. And the reality of this is that people are feeling these things and directing these comments at these celebrities because these celebrities are triggering something within them. And you've got to really ask yourself, where's that triggering come from? Why do people feel the urge to pipe up and be so loud and be so critical about people that they're never going to meet? It's nearly always going to come down to a place of low self-esteem. It's nearly always going to come down to the fact that they've seen these celebrities and they feel something triggered within them, some inadequacy that they've got triggered within them. And rather than face up to that, take ownership, they go to the easiest thing that it is. They go to the easiest thing to do. Throw some criticism, throw some shade, throw some jealousy, throw whatever it is. It's a very short-term way to try and make yourself better when you feel something on a more consistent basis that goes a lot deeper. And you're going to have to understand this. When you go through life, people are going to do the same thing to you. People are going to direct criticism at you for the same reason. And the best thing that you can do is to discount that and realise that it is not a reflection on you and it is completely a reflection on them. The second reason why you shouldn't care about what people think is that it's ultimately something that reduces your chances and opportunities in life rather than actually enhancing them. So evolutionary wise, there's two things that we are trained to fear. There's two things that we instinctively fear as human beings. Number one, danger. Dangerous people, dangerous situations, dangerous threats. Anything really where we ourselves feel that something about ourselves is in danger. And in the particular case of this video, we're talking about our self-esteem and our self-worth being in danger. The second one, and linking in very strongly with that, is shame. Human beings instinctively fear shame. And usually this comes as a result of something that happens in your early childhood. Often at times between the age of about 3 all the way through to the age of about 7. Often at times this is an incident at school, this is an incident with one of your friends, maybe an incident even with your family. But when you feel shame for the first time, your mind and your brain in its childlike state makes a decision. It decides that this is not an emotion it's comfortable feeling, and this is not going to be something that it allows itself to feel. As you progress through adult life, that fear begins to grow and grow and grow. And then normally at points, for most people, it begins to manifest in two things. Firstly, people pleasing, doing things for other people, because your mind says the more you do things for other people, the happier you'll be and the safer you'll be. But also it manifests in people dumbing down their identity, condensing themselves, and really trying to be a version of themselves that they think people will like, rather than being a version of themselves that is actually a true representation of what they actually are. So as I say that, I'm sure you can relate to that. I'm sure you're thinking of things like that you've done. You're thinking of things that you've done for other people that at the time felt like way too much, and you knew you weren't going to get the same thing back from that person. Perhaps you're even thinking of how you're dressing to please other people rather than dressing in the way that you want to dress. Well, this is common, and it's absolutely understandable that you would feel like that. But you need to understand that feeling those things is not going to be something that really develops you or puts you in a good position to live a fulfilled life. For most people, you'll probably feel frustrated. You'll feel frustrated with yourself, but you'll also feel frustrated with other people because you'll feel like they don't understand you. You feel like they don't give you the proper considerations that you're giving them. You'll possibly feel frustrated as well because you're not looking the way that you want to be. You're not expressing yourself in the way that you want to express yourself. You need to change that, and you need to understand that feeling that is completely normal, but you need to take ownership of how you want to feel. You need to take ownership of the fact that you've got your own identity, because people pleasing is putting your identity and putting your worth in other people's hands. If you want full development, you want to live a fulfilled life, the best thing that you can do is to define and give yourself your own value. Give yourself your own standards and decide what it is that you yourself really care about. Once you do that, your desire to people please will go. You'll realise that possibly some people will dislike you more than they would have done before, but at the end of the day, the people that feel like that about you are people that aren't a good match for you. They're people that won't be beneficial. They're people that won't enhance your life. They're people that will hold you back, because you won't be defining your own value. You'll be again putting your value in their hands. So look at what it is that you care about and realise that if you don't get those things, it's down to you, it's on you. But you shouldn't feel shame for wanting those things. You shouldn't feel scared to go after those things. It's about how you feel, it's about what you want, and it's about managing the people in your life around that. The third reason why you shouldn't care about what other people think is that caring about what other people think is massively linked to your ego. And your ego has got absolutely no place in your development, your mental health, your progression, or just your happiness in general. So most of us go through our lives with one common driver, one kind of driver that's unanimous throughout human beings. That driver is looking good, looking attractive, looking like you've met certain standards, but also just looking like a good human being, looking like a good person. It's a very hard driver to shake off because society tells you that you need to care about what other people think, because society basically says that you need to look good in order to be liked and in order to be a good and well-meaning member of society. There's absolutely some truth in that, and in so many levels that is the case. But in really small aspects of our life, it's not necessarily the case. When you want to look good, when you want to go on a diet, when you decide that you're working out, when you decide that you want to spend expensive money on clothes or expensive money on a car, you may like those possessions and you may enjoy those possessions, but a lot of those times you're going into that ego state of yours. You're going into that part of your ego that wants to look good because it wants to be liked and respected by the people around you. It's fine to live your life with a little bit of ego, and it's fine to live your life within your ego as a means of pushing yourselves in order to get more. But where your ego really stops you developing and actually becomes detrimental to your life progression is when you stay in it, is when you can't get out of your ego. So some of you have probably been in a relationship. That relationship's finished and you felt like that person never really understood you. Maybe some of you have had fallouts with your friends because there's been some sort of subconscious battle between who's the more successful of the two of you, who's the stronger of you, who's the better of you. This is because you're in a state of your ego. You're not living those relationships. You're not experiencing those relationships in a state of really being who you are. You're living those relationships in your ego, and your ego is going to battle with another human being's ego. And the friendship or the relationship invariably ends because you can't have two egos together. In fact, you shouldn't have any egos together. But when you have two egos together, they're consistently butting heads, and it really becomes a battle of who's got the stronger will or the stronger ego. And the person with the stronger ego will ultimately be the one that wins. But that victory will come at a cost. It will come at a cost because it will lose the people in its life that matters. Another way that ego can be detrimental is that it tells you that you need to be successful in aspects of your life that you don't really care about. Maybe you've worked jobs because there's been a certain status around that job, even though you've hated that job. Maybe you've worked a job that paid you well, but you felt no fulfillment and didn't pursue things that made you feel more fulfillment. Well, you stayed in that job because your ego wanted to keep you in that job. You stayed in that job because your ego said that the more I do this job, the better I am, the better respected I'm going to be, and the more people will look at me within a slightly idolized state. People aren't looking at you like that. Your ego is telling you that people are looking at you like that, but your ego is wrong. People don't really care. People just see you, they see you as what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and they don't formulate that opinion. So make less decisions governed by your ego and make more decisions by what it is that you authentically want for yourself. And the final reason why you shouldn't care about what other people think is because you need to understand that your mind has certain biases. So your mind has certain negative things that it feels, certain things that you're battling with on a day-to-day basis. As a result, it means that when people say negative things about you, your mind is always going to focus on the negative, and it's not even going to hear the positive in some cases. So someone could say 10 really good things about you with one negative thing within that. Your mind will gravitate, focus on, and then fixate on the negative and not hear the positive. And linking in with that too, the people that speak the loudest will always be the people with the most negative opinions. So that kind of works in like a two-way street with the previous thing. You're exposed to less positive comments and you're exposed to more negative comments. Your mind hears less of the positive comments and then gravitates to the negative comments. Detrimental and challenging for you because there will be more negative comments being said. So again, understand that those negative comments are coming from that person's insecurity in that person's place rather than actually being an attack on you. But also realize that you're going to have to go through life and you're going to have to manage your insecurities. When you realize that you have those insecurities and you take ownership of them, and you take ownership of the parts of you that you're less comfortable with, it actually becomes a lot easier to not care about what other people think, because you'll hear it, you'll recognize it, you'll understand it, but it's not going to challenge you because your self-awareness will be heightened and you'll be aware that that's something that you maybe need to work on, is something that you're working on, or something that you're okay with and you've now learned how to manage. And ultimately it's about managing those things for you and not managing those things in order to make other people happy. And that's it, 4 very simple and very easy to understand things. If you like this video, please can I ask you to click like and subscribe down below. If you really like this video, I am now offering one-on-one coaching at the website also down below. But as always guys, nothing but love. Take care and I'll see you all in the next one.